It was a gosh stinking really good book. Girl, if it's written like these, I don't want to read The Witcher anymore. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Renee with Renee's Reads. Sorry this is kind of on the later side. I'm most likely going to be posting this April 3rd, so welcome to whoever has not been here. My dog is sniffing the camera. Yes. So I'm gonna kind of go over, just briefly go over the books that I read this month. I read a total of 4 books, 1 audiobook, and then 2 mangas. I have the 2 mangas that I read here, and then I'll also go over my April TBRs because it's already April and I might get busy this month, so I'm just gonna kind of combine everything. Okay, so first of all, the way that I'm going to go about these videos is kind of give like a brief overview on my thoughts on the books, whether I recommend you guys to read it, and then the point in the month of what was happening in my life and how that book fit into my life. I don't know if much people do that, but I feel like I kind of would like to know like what's going on in other people's lives during the time that they're reading the book, because I feel like what happens in our lives actually influences a lot on how we perceive the books. So I thought that'd be a cool little thing to do. Pew, pew. Anyways, so we're gonna go over, I already made 2 videos regarding the reviews of 2 books that I read this month. One of them was The Poppy Wars, and I don't know if you guys seen my reading vlog of The Poppy Wars, but it was a gosh stinking really good book. I did not realize how much I needed that kind of fantasy, and yeah, I related a lot to the character Rin. If you guys don't know what it's about, it's pretty popular, so I would give that a search. But overall, I did rate it a 4.75 just because at the time, that book, I didn't read the trigger warnings beforehand, so I didn't know how gory it would get. I thought I was into gore, and yeah, I was, but not like that. It read like a 5-star read though. Now that I think about it, I'd probably be rating it actually a 5-star, since the gore in the book was important to the overall like storyline as a whole. Yeah, I don't spoil anything in case you guys do want to read it, but just check out my reading vlog if you guys want to know any more details on like my explanations, thoughts, and theories for the next book. This was the beginning of March. I was finally getting able to get over like my back problem since work. So I really just needed like my mind to like delve into a very different world than I was in now. I kept going to like my appointments. I don't know, you'll see in my reading vlog too, I keep going in between like acupuncture appointments and other things. But now on to Hollow Kingdom. Hollow Kingdom, I would say definitely a 5 out of 5. So in February 11, my family dog Choi had passed. That was very heartbreaking for us, and I felt like Hollow Kingdom was like the perfect book to kind of commemorate our love for animals and pets and how important they are to our families. So we read The Hollow Kingdom, and I gave it a 5-star based on the overall characters, plot, relationship. Yeah, that was a really fun read. That was a very whimsical read, I would say. I've never read things in the perspective of animals, let alone a very sassy bird named Shit Turd. I could go into details, but I have a non-spoiler review on that one, and you guys could check that one out as well. But that one was a 5-star. Based on the timing in my life, I felt like I really needed something that was a little bit more lighthearted, because The Poppy War was not lighthearted. And then my first audiobook ever, because I'm not much of an audiobook person. I'm definitely a podcast person. Lots of self-help podcasts. I listen to The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Frick. Fuck. That's a really fun podcast to listen to. If you guys enjoyed Mark Manson's book on that, I highly recommend the podcast because the way he writes is exactly the way he speaks. So the audiobook, None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Okay. That book, very different. I'll give this one a synopsis since I don't have a video on this one yet, but None of This Is True is basically about two strangers, both women. One is named Josie. She's married to a very much older man. And then there is Alex, who's a very popular podcaster, has a very like glam life, I would say. And then unfortunately, her husband is an alcoholic. But these two stranger women end up meeting each other on the day of their birthday, and they end up being birthday twins because they were both born on the same day, and that's how they met. And then Josie throws Alex a bone, saying that, hey, I noticed that you have podcasts about women who basically were able to become successful, and you like to portray their success on your podcast. How about I give you a story about a woman who is about to change her life instead of how they change their life. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. I don't know if I should go too much into the storyline, but I'll just say this. Basically, the way that the audiobook is read is that in the past, we are reflecting on these two women, but in the present, there's a Netflix documentary about particular murders that took place. That's all I'm gonna say. This is a fairly popular psychological thriller. I myself am more of a fantasy self-help manga reader. This was a great read for me. This would have been a 5. However, because certain topics that I felt should not have been, I don't know, kind of like brushed to the side, I felt like it should be a 4.5. And I don't know, I just felt like that topic could have been handled a little bit differently. During the time that I was listening to None of This Is True, this is when I was able to land a few interviews, all while my back is like kind of healing. So this was during the time in March where I'm like, okay, I need to like get my shit together. I use that to motivate myself to like slowly go back into the gym, and having both my hobbies combined just made the experience like chef's kiss, man. Chef's kiss. Now I'm just listening to psychological thrillers. If you see me at the gym, just know, listening to a juicy one, okay? I buddy read with my Bookstagram buddy. I'll link her Instagram below as well. You guys should check her out. I had such a fun time reading One Dark Window. This was an amazing book. This was the book that I did not know I needed at the time. It had so many like fantastical fairy tale elements I didn't know I needed. I liked the fact that romance was more of a subplot. This was the month of reawakenings of like what kinds of books and plots I'm actually into. The writing, despite One Dark Window being very YA, the characters, the plots, the rhymes, the way the mystery unfolds of what happens within this kingdom, everything about the aura just takes me back to when I was younger, and I just loved like gloomy weather, gloomy days. You know, if you were a scene kid back in the day, you loved Twilight and stuff. I don't know, this kind of gave me that kind of nostalgia. I read the physical book. I borrowed it from my sister. At the beginning of each chapter, there's cards, and those cards will have like a rhyme, and usually it's in regards to kind of like the folklore or the folk tales of Providence cards. There are magical cards involved. I just felt like the magic was so unique to me. Like the way that the magic's portrayed, it's different from having magic that like comes from within someone. Usually the person is able to wield a certain kind of magical power, but this one, it's like limited to cards. I highly recommend this book. I would say I feel like my only qualm, the reason why I rated it a 4 stars is because when I'm reading my fantasy books, I kind of really pay attention to characters, plot, pacing, and the writing. Loved the writing. The main character in One Dark Window, she's great, but I feel like most of her personality was the fact that she was tethered to a certain being. And it's hard for me to relate to a character when there's not much going on with them. Okay. You can also take a look at my Goodreads if you already read the book and you want like spoilers, but I'm trying not to spoil much here. But I highly recommend reading that book. That one's a fun one for me. Even though I rated it less than the other books so far, I would say it's a 4. Yeah, it was a 4 on my Goodreads. So take a look at that. I finished that the day before my birthday. That was a great way to end the month, by the way. Unfortunately, this leads us to The Freaking Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner. It's actually supposed to be the second book of a trilogy. But the first book was God Killer by Hannah Kaner. As I look back at my book journal, I would say God Killer is not a 3.5. It was definitely a 3 for me. I liked the characters and the relationships. The plot was there. The writing style is just really not for me. If you guys are cool with like tangents and whatnot, like you'll be in the middle of the dialogue and then all of a sudden they're going off into a tangent, describing what the person is doing. I get distracted, okay? I will forget what conversation we are having if I have to figure out and imagine what that person's doing. Like, anyways, that might not be for you then. If you even want to start this series, I tried so hard to like this book, which is why I'm a little sad that my month ended with this series. This one is more of a 3.5. The second book, Sunbringer. It's this one. Honestly though, the cover is great. Like the covers, I've seen the physical books in Barnes & Noble as well. I want to love this series because I heard that it's like similar to the way The Witcher is written, but girl, if it's written like these, I don't want to read The Witcher anymore. It's just the pacing is faster, which is why I got the 0.5, but it still goes off into like tangents at times, and there's a couple like plot holes, I would say. Yeah, I will dive deep into this one, but basically this is a continuation of the story of 4 different characters in a world where gods are outlawed. Like you're not allowed to believe in certain gods, and gods in this world, however, are more depicted as, I would say, like mythical creatures, almost, because there's like the gods of like broken sandals, or the god of knowledge, or the god of rivers. Like they're more of like, not rodents, how should I explain it, they're more like everyday aspects of nature. But in this universe, or in this realm, we follow 4 different characters. Elogas, who's a retired knight. He was the previous commander of the kingdom, I would say. And then we follow Kissen. She's a god killer, also known as a Vega. Inara is the daughter of a lady, Lady Crayer. And she's somehow tethered to a small tiny god, which is a hare that has antlers and has wings and can change size. Those 2 are tethered. That little god of white lies is called Skedi. Or they grow apart, the more it hurts, like they're actually bonded together. All of these 4 characters meet and somehow all their goals align. You get thrown more into this world and see how the politics develop, but I don't understand why certain politics are done. The things that I kind of wanted answered were answered, like in the very end of the book. Like I might go on like a book rant on this one, like, yeah. Anyways, 3.5. A hard DNF of this book. I really pushed through. I'm actually more than 50% of the way. Okay, the problem with this book. I came into it thinking that I can learn to heal from past traumatic things that I have experienced before, and it did help. It actually helped shift into perspective certain things that I've encountered with others who may have PTSD. The thing is, I didn't realize how super science-based this book was. Look at the font. It is like a textbook. This is small, okay? This is not really a self-help book. I think that was the problem. Do not read this book if you think that this is meant for self-help. This really isn't. It's more on exploring like different aspects of the body, the mind, the soul when it experiences trauma. This is the textbook of PTSD/trauma. A lot of it, it's stuff that I already learned from my own therapy experiences, so there is nothing really valuable for me, in my opinion. That's all. Okay, and lastly, I don't know if you guys really consider manga as reads, but I do because you're like physically reading a book. I am a longtime lover of my childhood manga, Yona of the Dawn. If you guys have not read this, Clockwork, I think it was the booktuber Clockwork Reader, she loves this as well. Dude, this is like, I've read this since I was like 11, I think. It's an old manga, but everything about this, if you have not, the plot, the characters, the character development, strong female, well, it's more of like character development of like the female lead, even the slow burn romance. It has like a very well developed history. The politics are pretty intriguing as well. We have a princess to the kingdom. There's also a prophecy involved regarding a dragon and dragon's blood, and somehow this princess is tethered to that. And I feel like you guys should really give it a go. And they already have an anime adaptation, but basically, in the 4th volume, we're getting introduced to one of my favorite characters. I might actually cosplay as her for this upcoming Comic-Con. So yeah, please give Yona of the Dawn a read. I love it. Need I say more? And Spy Family. I finished this one. Usually manga I can like finish in a sitting, so it's mainly pictures anyways, but if it gets political, I have to like kind of take a little bit of time there. But this one, not too bad. Okay. I have restrained myself from reading this online. So I'm only caught up with the physical books, but I'm really caught up with the anime. For those who've read this online and are already caught up with the newest, because my little sister is caught up with the newest chapter, basically, let me just say the bus scene, and it involves these two characters. So yeah, I love Spy Family. This one, anytime I'm feeling down, this is like a comfort read. We're gonna go over my April TBRs because it's already April, and come on girl, I need to get a hold of I need to find a better system on recording and posting. I just started this manga. I actually am caught up with the anime. My sister got the first manga for me. It's on my shelf, so I'm just continuing it. This is so lighthearted and cute, and Skip and Loafer pretty much explores the dynamics between high school student relationships, and it's not so heavily focused on the romance. It's more about having kind of two different personalities in high school. We have like this try hard student trying to be involved with everything versus a lax, laid back, like, I don't know what I want to do with my life kind of guy. And I like this one. It's really cute and refreshing. And if you want like a low stakes, focus on the relationships kind of anime slash manga, I'd give this one a go. It's really cute, very refreshing, and I feel like it's very suitable for spring. The one that I'm actually like 50% done with, because I started it in the end of March and now it's April, is Twisted Love. I know the cover. Why this cover, right? Okay, very Wattpad fan fiction-y so far. But I think I read things like this sometimes because I feel nostalgic. Like I'm going back to my fanfic era. Is it the best read so far? Well, I'll tell you later, but 50% is getting a little crazy with with some things in there. To more serious reads, Two Twisted Crowns, that will be my next read. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I actually thoroughly enjoyed One Dark Window. Yeah, like I hope we get to see like more character development, or I hope some characters are a bit more fleshed out than I previously read in the first book. So really hoping, please don't disappoint me, Two Twisted Crowns. That was my only qualm with the first book, how the main character could have had a little bit more personality. So I'm really hoping that Two Twisted Crowns kind of gives me that feel. It looks like there's Elspeth in the beginning as well, so I kind of believe that gives us a hint as to what happens to this character. This, oh my god. The Dragon Republic. The Poppy War has really stolen my heart. I'm probably going to do another reading vlog because I'm in love with this series right now, and the characters being so freaking well written, I'm in love. And the plot as well. I'm probably gonna buddy read this with one of my Bookstagram friends again, but I'll probably update you guys with a reading vlog on this one. Shoot, so I actually almost forgot the sequel to Hollow Kingdom, which is Feral Creatures. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I wanted, based on the ending, I'm not spoiling anything, but the ending introduced a very interesting character, especially in times like those. So I'm looking forward to it, and yeah. These are my main TBRs of the month, just because I don't know if I will be starting my new job. So it kind of just depends. Like, look how thick these guys are. But I'm almost done with Twisted Love. Oh, and then lastly, the audiobook that I am reading, I would say, is The Housemaid. And that one is so good so far. I'm gonna be reading that. I keep saying reading. I'm just gonna say reading because it's audiobook, okay? I had no idea coming into this. I didn't read the synopsis, and that's how I got into None of This Is True. So I'm hopefully gonna be wooed by another psychological thriller. Overall, I had a generally good rating month. I would say my average, sorry, I'm not gonna calculate it right now, but this is the average, my average reading month rating. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know you guys' thoughts on any of these books, manga. Feel free to even DM me on Instagram about any of these reads. Please no spoilers, as I usually say in my description. But yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.